You know the sound.
Explain the unexplained.
We're explaining the unexplained. Well, I'll do my best.
Good morning.
Good morning. There's a Minnesota chapter of the Mutual UFO Network. Did you know it existed? It says about 100 UFO sightings are reported. Investigators officially closed the Prior Lake case as unknown. But if you're curious or maybe you're a skeptic, the CIA has some tips on how to investigate a UFO. And we've added a link to fox9.com. There are a lot of believers out there.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Somebody's watching from another planet.
Always. Alex, thank you.
Right now, it's time for our tweet out.
What's going on for 6 o'clock this morning? Hello, lady.
Good morning. All right, this is what you got coming up at 6 o'clock.
All right, Alex, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
stuff.
And stay with us because Keith is also coming back with that forecast on your Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks for joining us and waking up with us here on Fox 9. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Alix Kendall. We hope your morning is getting off to a good start. We'll get you caught up on the news now. New this morning, a Minneapolis squad car gets into a crash and ends up slamming into an apartment building, leaving several people hurt.
And this happened last night at the intersection of 36th and Fremont Avenue North. That's where we find our Bill Keller this morning with more on the story. Good morning, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Well, police in Brooklyn Park are investigating a deadly shooting this morning.
It happened about 8.
A vanity license plate is sparking outrage for its anti-Muslim sentiment. The governor is now calling it appalling, and the Department of Public Safety is working to get it off the street.
But the big question here is, how did this license plate ever get approval in the first place? Kelly O'Connell joins us now with more on the story. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning. A lot of questions this morning.
It is 6:06 now. Ice fishing season, well, it's quickly coming to an end across Minnesota.
Today, the DNR will be reminding anglers to get their ice houses off the lakes. The actual
Unique experience.
Yeah, that'd be all right for
A lot of people want to be on that ice.
I'm sure it's going to be crowded.
Yeah. All right, 6:07. Is it crowded on the roads? You don't want that for your kids.
Keith.
The United Nations is banning a very popular product on passenger airlines. What you need to know before flying to friendly skies.
Plus, we look at some of the stories happening as you start your Tuesday morning.
Investigators. Oh, good morning and welcome to Fox 9 in the morning on this Tuesday. I'm Alix Kendall.
I'm Tom Butler. Thanks for waking up with us. Time now is 6:30. We'll catch you up on the big story. New this morning, a Minneapolis squad car gets into a crash and ends up slamming into an apartment building, leaving several people hurt.
It happened last night at the intersection of 36th and Fremont Avenue North, and that's where we find our Bill Keller. He has the very latest. Good morning, Bill. Across Minnesota, flags flew at half-staff in honor of Officer Mosier.
The Minneapolis Police Department Honor Guard was among those paying tribute to him in Fargo yesterday. Mosier, a 6-year veteran of the force.
We are 1 week away from one of the biggest primary and caucus days across the country. We're talking about Super Tuesday.
And we're in that conversation. There's a lot going on in several states before next Tuesday, from debates to a few campaign stops right here in Minnesota. Don Stevens joins us now to break it all down. I got a couple of those robocalls last night.
Yes, it's going to be very busy for all of us, right? So one of those campaign...
Thanks, Don.
Well, let's talk about our traffic because we know the snow is coming down. We saw Bill Keller and his lot. We'll check in then. Thanks, Keith.
Well, coming up, SeaWorld crews attempt to rescue a tangled baby whale off the coast of California. We've got some incredible video. We'll show you that straight ahead.
First, so we're going to check in this morning with M.A. Roscoe. M.A.
Good ending to that story.
That's right, yeah. Well, the Minneapolis, I like that, yes, I like that part too. They have a pulse. Tomorrow, MA has a...
It is 6:49. You mentioned earlier we saw Bill, who was out there in the elements, and we see the snow falling gently on his shoulders. Maybe it's falling harder now. We don't know.
Right, thank you, Shane. And that is the time, 6:53. The reboot of the hit show, The X-Files, came to a close last night here on Fox. But it turns out Minnesota has its own version of The X-Files.
And we are learning about one of those cases right now, the CIA. Wow.
The truth is out there, Alex.
I know it is.
It is.
There are questions.
It's floating around.
Maybe there's intelligent life out there. Well, one of the best-selling singers of all time is making a stop right here in Minnesota. Oh, Mandy.
Oh, Mandy. Yes, Mandy.
That's one of his most popular songs for the kids at home who don't know. Mr. Barry Manilow, that's one of his classics.
They all kind of have that crescendo and then back down. 6:55 now. Here's a recap of the big stories we're following for you this morning. Don't go away. There's Barry. Another big one.
The Copacabana.
We'll be right back with our 7 o'clock hour. Don't go away.
The Copacabana. here. Thanks for waking up with us here on Fox 9. I'm Alix Kendall.
And we're glad you're here with us as well. I'm Tom Butler. Good morning to you. 7:01 is the time. We'll catch you up on one of the big stories this morning.
New this morning, a Minneapolis squad car gets into a crash and he ends up slamming into an apartment building, leaving several people hurt.
Happened last night at the intersection of 36th and Fremont Avenue North. That's where we find our building.
A person of interest in Jacob Wetterling's kidnapping pleads not guilty to child porn charges.
Danny.
A vanity license plate is sparking outrage for its anti-Muslim sentiment. The governor called it appalling, and the Department of Public Safety working now to get it off the street.
But the big question here is, how did this license plate ever get approval in the first place? Kelly O'Connell is tracking the story down for us. She joins us right now. Good morning.
Good morning. In fact, a spokesperson for
Presidential candidate and Florida Senator Marco Rubio is holding a campaign rally in the Twin Cities today.
It's 7:06 right now. The head of the FBI is asking Apple to reconsider its decision not to help authorities break into an iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino shooters.
Today, smartphone users are planning to show their solidarity in support of the tech giant's decision. Our Don Stevens. 7:08 is the time now. We'll look at some of the other stories making headlines.
The snow is coming. It's here. It's not coming. It's here. It's falling.
Yeah, and it's pretty good sized flakes depending on where you are in the metro right now, Keith Marler.
That's right, as we have...
It is 7:11 right now. Coming up, Minnesota is making progress increasing the number of high school graduates. We have the latest numbers.
Plus, why Minnesota is a morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us here on Fox 9. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Alix Kendall. It is 7:32 now on this Tuesday morning. We'll get into what's happening with Republican voters in Nevada. They are heading to their caucuses later today, deciding whether to hand Donald Trump yet another state victory or offer the Republican establishment a possible alternative.
Now, this comes as Florida Senator and presidential hopeful Marco Rubio hosts an event right here in Minneapolis, rallying supporters ahead of Super Tuesday. Doug Lazare.
All right, it is 7:34 right now. The Minneapolis Institute of Art has teamed up with what might seem like an unlikely partner, West Elm.
The Brooklyn-based maker of modern furniture has a pop-up shop now within the store at MIA. We used to call it MIA. Now they want it to be called MIA. M.A. Roscoe tells us you'll find things both handcrafted and local.
Thanks, M.A. The reboot of the hit show The X-Files came to a close last night right here in Fox, but it turns out Minnesota has its own version of The X-Files.
And we're learning about one of those cases right now, the CIA.
Or that. The Twilight Zone. All right, 7:38 now. Shane Wells is monitoring the traffic situation. 7:42 now. How a new test is helping families find complications with a baby as early as 9 weeks into pregnancy.
Plus Chunky, and we're glad you are. 7:45. We both love our peanut butter.
Oh, we do.
We do.
Have it every day.
Well, there are some things to consider when choosing a healthy peanut butter.
Plus, a new prenatal test is helping families detect any abnormalities in a baby early in a pregnancy. Dr. Joe
Tampa affiliate joining us this morning.
Time to talk weather with Keith, and we know it's affecting the commute, and because there is snow, it's better than gray. Just to freshen it up, just to, cover up the gray bits.
Little thin, yeah, little thin.
As long as you don't have to shovel it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wet. We can tell it's wet. Nice to have you along on this Tuesday. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Alix Kendall. Let's talk about what we're seeing right there. Snow on the ground and still falling. But it sounds like it's slowing down quite a bit.
Yeah,
All right, thank you, Keith. It is 8:01 right now. Getting into news this morning, a Minneapolis squad car gets into a crash and ends up slamming into an apartment building, leaving several people hurt.
It happened last night at the intersection of 36th and Fremont Avenue North. That's where, thank you, Bill.
A vanity license plate is sparking outrage for its anti-Muslim sentiment. The governor called it appalling, and the Department of Public Safety working now to get it off the street.
But the real question here is, how did this license plate ever get the approval in the first place? Once you see it, you'll know why. Kelly O'Connell joins us with more on the story. Good morning, Kelly.
And officials are trying to get to the bottom of that question right there, Tom. A department.
It is 8:05 right now. The person of interest in Jacob Wetterling's kidnapping pleads not guilty to child porn charges.
Danny Heinrich. Across Minnesota, flags flew at half-staff in honor of Officer Mosier.
The Minneapolis Police Department Honor Guard was among those paying tribute to him in Fargo yesterday.
For those scams. We're watching the roads with Shane Wells this morning. We've had a number of incidents because of that snow.
Thank you, Keith. It's 8:11 right now. Heads up, hockey fans. You can get some ice time on the same rink used to crush the Chicago Blackhawks over the weekend.
I'll tell you how you can do that tonight. But those ice houses, you know, those soon to need.
15 on to politics happening today. A Republican presidential candidate is making a stop right here in the Twin Cities.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio is holding a rally in Minneapolis today. Our Don Stevens joins us.
Mr. Palenti, our former governor, in
Yeah, it's
some
been
time.
a while
So.
since we've seen Teepaw. 8:16 is the time now. A Metro bodybuilder is using his personal experience with weight loss to help others get into shape. Ice fishing season is quickly coming to an end across Minnesota.
That's right. Clinton are reminding people to take their ice houses off the lakes. You don't know. Maybe they are.
Maybe.
The actual deadline is March 7th for the lower thirds of the state, and then March 21st for the northern Minnesota parts of the state. So with our recent warm-up, anglers may not want to wait since ice conditions have been a little bit sketchy.
A little sketchy. Yeah. All right, 8:19. Let's talk weather on the 9s. Keith Marler. Keith, 8:30 is the time. New this morning, a Minneapolis squad car gets into a crash, slamming into an apartment building, leaving several people hurt.
This happened last night at the intersection of 36th and Fremont Avenue North, and that's where we find our Bill Keller with the rest of the story. Good morning, Bill.
Severely hurt. Thank you, Bill. We're getting a better idea this morning of the role robots will play in the future workforce.
According to the... It's 8:33 now. Starbucks is changing its rewards program. Now, in the past, members get 1 star per visit, regardless of how much the coffee is.
Email yesterday, and I read it, and I'm like,
Now, some people in the newsroom were a little upset about
We'll
that.
see how it shakes out. I'll keep you posted on that. Get your appetite ready. It is Taco Tuesday, and we are hitting the kitchen to whip up some tasty steak tacos. Steak tacos.
Tatos?
It's a tato. It's so good.
It's like a tacho and a taco, but
yeah. No, it's a taco. We're going to dive into that coming up just ahead.
but first, let's check in with M.A. Roscoe. M.A.
The Minneapolis Institute of Art, now going by the name of MIA, is where you go to see art from the masters. Well, now there's an exhibit showcasing what's happening in American art right now.
Do you have to say it like that?
You do, MIA.
State of the Art is a look at diverse, under-the-radar artists from all around the country. M.A. Roscoe shows us around. And May's mom had a really big purse.
I guess so.
Well, tomorrow she has a preview of the free, fun, brain-teasing weekend for budding scientists known as Tech Fest. She takes us to the Works in Bloomington.
That'll be tomorrow. Well, today it's all about the taco. It is Taco Tuesday. Up next, we'll be in the Fox 9 kitchen cooking up some delicious steak tacos from a local chef. I've had them. They're delicious.
They sound delicious. Save me a little piece, would you?
Oh, of course.
A little bite?
Yeah.
But first, let's check in with Dale. Good morning and welcome to the Fox 9 Buzz. I'm Alex Kendall.
I'm Kelly O'Connell.
And I'm Keith Marler. I think I have a little steak in my tooth.
How is it?
How were those tacos?
Well,
they
that was
look
really good.
delicious.
Yeah, mine fell apart.
I didn't
Chef
make
Eli,
it over to the kitchen.
He
but
made me one with a little steak
looked
very
really
quickly
good.
as I ran back over here.
I
But the
tried
one
the-
with the Tom, where are you? What was that he made? The pork belly? No, the pork jowl. What was that called?
It tastes like bacon, right?
Holy-
I guess pork is
high-end
bacon.
Eli, if you're still over there, that was really good.
I'll take another.
Yeah, we'll take
or
a couple
one.
more of those with the
There's
bacon.
I tried the
Holy
tortilla.
moly.
It's
And
really
they're
good.
They're
Said it
little
was
bite
really
size. They're
tasty.
small. Yeah, they're little sampler size.
Right.
Sampler
We get
size is good.
excited when we eat on the show.
Well,
And
it's-
we eat well on the show.
it's really good. All right, well, we do have to talk about a little snow out there this morning, a little burst of snow.
All right, thanks, Keith. It is 9:02 right now. But this is the big story that's breaking today.
Yes, it is. Good morning, guys. So, of course, there have been, it was on the morning talk shows this morning, very adamantly saying this will not just happen one time. This is going to, saying, hey, the FBI just wants to get more information about these terrorists. Of course, you know, their stance is solid right now.
Right.
They don't
Yeah.
plan on, from what we understand, there are things that haven't made the headlines right now, but it's just obviously in support to this argument that it
I mean, kind of
Yes.
siding with the, we agree this is a slippery slope. Interesting that Bill
I thought
Gates.
so too.
Yeah.
That he's standing out from the pack in taking this stance. And I heard some poll this morning. I think it was like 63% of Americans were asked this question: do you side with Apple or do you side with the FBI? And 63% of Americans sided with the FBI on
Right.
this. In
Right.
a sense, with Bill Gates on this matter. So.
I heard that too. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Don, thanks so much.
Sure.
I don't need all that on my phone. I don't want to be.
Yeah, more music artists. And hey, Mom, if you're watching at home, your phone is cool again.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I had a flip phone forever. I was slow to give up into the iPhone.
That's like-
Four over here. To get to
that's
the
a
S
nightmare.
or the T, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I had to go
I
through
know.
the.
Awful.
It took forever.
It was slow, but
Yeah.
I could understand that.
I do
Also, from a
too.
standpoint of my possession,
You would check your phone less.
I would, and that would be the case. I tend to
Right.
default into, instead of reading the book, I'll pull up my phone for 10 minutes and I'll read, some news and all of a sudden 20 minutes is gone. Or something
Right.
Like that. All right.
There you go.
All right, say cheese, my friends. MasterCard wants you to start paying.
I'm
It's
not
going to happen.
surprised.
Yeah, I don't know.
You won't have a problem getting.
Maybe my,
Maybe I don't look like myself. I look like this on
Yeah.
the weekend.
Baseball cap on? A lot of
My hair's not
questions.
Maybe my
straightened.
wig is flipped up or something.
My hair's all wild.
I don't know. So I have
Interesting
to-
idea, though. Okay, it's not away. I was just.
I get it right on the song.
I missed
Back
my
in the day.
boombox. I do.
On your shoulder? You walk down the street?
I didn't quite go that far, but I liked it.
You can buy one.
I
Now-
know.
trendy
Life
now.
was so much simpler.
How about this? Top dog this morning. The one to watch. That's the
one to watch.
up-and-coming breed.
No, I think she's trendy and
So-
They
things
take a
are
lot of
popping up.
selfies.
Yeah, they do.
They're very popular on Instagram.
The German Shepherds. I feel like I'm seeing more of those in the last couple.
Great
People
German
walking
Shepherd.
their
Zoe's her
German
name.
Shepherds.
Well, she's I guess 3 years old now already, but she's got that still puppy enthusiasm about
I
her.
keep seeing a lot of bulldogs, too.
Yeah.
You are such a trendsetter.
We've been on the forefront of that for decades. Decades now. Coming up on 9/11 this morning. Mad for plaid. This trend is sweeping men's wear.
All right, plaid for everyone.
And Dale K does have that shirt. He just
That
showed
very
us a
same
picture.
shirt.
He has the exact same shirt you were just talking about.
He's so on trend.
He is. One of the best-selling singers of all time is coming here to Minnesota. Coming up next, we've got more on Barry Manilow's upcoming concert. Straight ahead.
And Amazon.
Because I was like, maybe I should vote. And no, it was like a landslide. It wasn't even close.
Or like,
There was a whopping. Are you ready? There were 8 votes.
well,
Did you get any?
I got 2 out of the 8.
well, Tom's
Instagram's a
tie
new
was new.
thing for us, obviously.
Yes, that's true.
it's
His
new.
was new and
It was
fresh.
brand
So
new.
Well, my tie's been around the block. His tie's much brighter and bolder, and my tie is like, hey,
It's
just
okay.
you can
All
get him
right.
next week.
It's okay.
Tune in next
Maybe I'll wear a
Tuesday
bow tie next
for
week.
the tiebreaker.
I haven't worn a bow tie in years.
Game changer.
Exactly.
It's 9:23. Let's begin our lightning round, shall we? One of the best-selling singers.
You get the Prime. That's all right.
If you
Yeah,
use
I'm a
Amazon,
Prime
it
member.
does pay for it.
It
I
does.
have it. But if you don't use it that often, then it's not worth it. But
49, up from 35. Is that right? Yikes.
just keep on spending.
Well, this is a musical that you will be singing along to. You probably know some of the songs. Maybe you do. Gypsy.
Yeah.
To some of the stars of the show to get the inside scoop on the production. Like, let me entertain you.
I'm a gypsy. And it's almost spring. Coming up next, we can get mustard, all things said and done. We got a couple little extra little drops to deal with as we go on into our afternoon hours, too. But yeah, 39 for a high. Yeah, there was no survival for a lot of that snow out there.
All right, we know that we're just a couple of moments away from the president speaking. He's at the White House, but recently he was visiting Cuba, and we know that, of course, things have opened up between our country and Cuba, and people will soon be traveling there. It's kind of exciting to have the borders open.
It is, and we're waiting. He's going to speak about Guantanamo Bay in particular. He's about to speak at the White House over the course of this morning. We're waiting on him to take that podium.
Yeah, he's going to be closing Guantanamo Bay at the detention center, of course, at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And he'll be speaking and talking about that. I was just, it's on my bucket list of places to visit, is Cuba, now that it's open.
Go to
But
Havana.
this is a different, the Guantanamo Bay thing being a different thing, a detention center. That's not where I plan on visiting. It's going to be closing.
Well, it will be closed, Alex. So that's probably a
This
very
is called
good
like
thing.
stretching. We're waiting for the president. Anyway,
Well, and that
let's
was, how long ago was that now that we opened up stuff? All right, well, before we get into our sidetrack, let's go to the president now.
close Guantanamo Bay, highlighting the fact that many Republicans stood with him on the idea of this and not making a political issue, but we'll have more, of course, on the president's plan throughout the day and the closing of Guantanamo Bay, Cuba on Fox9.com and also tonight on Fox at 5.
Show End of the World. Critics have called this the greatest.
Gypsy Rose, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Morning, guys.
Good to be here. Having us.
All right, for people who are unfamiliar with Gypsy, why don't you explain what the production is about, the
What?
story?
Is there anybody?
Is it possible?
Oh, Alex?
No, producer Chelsea was getting really concerned this morning about
She should come and see it.
Yes.
You
All
want
right, so explain the storyline.
You go ahead.
Well, it's a story about a stage mother who is a
stripper.
tasteful stripper.
Exactly.
Especially with my daughter playing gypsy. It's like, you're going to be
I remember a lot
tasteful.
of
honey.
feathers
All about
involved.
the
A lot of
tease.
feathers, yeah. So it's a story of survival, basically, without getting too heavy about it, because it's a great this era, I think.
It has become. I mean, there are reality shows based upon this. At
yeah.
this point
Yes,
now.
exactly.
All right. As a mother-daughter duo here, as you look to playing the daughter into the world on both sides of, I guess, of real life and on the stage.
Yeah.
Does any of Gypsy and don't be offended when I say this. Does any of this echo? Is there any? Don't speak.
Wait
is
a
there
minute.
Any little glimpse of reality?
Oh, yes. No, yes, like any, any sort of family. And the challenges of going, all of those themes are very universal. And so I found it's actually been helpful in the storytelling.
They really are.
Great stories.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah,
knows
great
them.
music.
All right, Michelle and Kat, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here this
so
morning.
much for having us.
Gypsy's
for coming
playing.
in. All right, it's 9:40. We're going to take a quick break here on the Fox 9 Buzz, and we'll be right back. Juggling.
Productive
Juggle
Tuesday.
Fest.
I still have, by the way, I like to update. I still have some carne asada, some flank steak in my tooth.
You're rubbing it in
working
because there's no more food.
You guys didn't get anything? You didn't
No.
get the steak?
Well, I
No.
just got a little bit of a tortilla.
I've
Those tortillas
moved
are
on.
good.
I've moved on.
Again,
sorry.
when there's food,
We tried to
people
rescue
come out of the
what we could.
woodworks.
I apologize. Now I feel bad.
That's all right.
A little. The Minneapolis Institute of Art has teamed up with what might seem like an unlikely partner, and that's West Elm.
The Brooklyn-based maker of modern furniture has a pop-up shop within the store at Mia.
And May Roscoe tells us where you're going to find both handcrafted and local really cool stuff.
Thanks, Kelly.
Made it back in time.
I know, my abs hurt watching that.
Was that what that was about? Just kidding. The Jason Show coming up next right here on Fox 9.
Jason Matheson joins us now to tell Keith earlier
Yeah.
and whether anybody really controls Keith. And it was a resounding no. I took a poll of everybody,
I don't
and
think we even
ran around.
tried.
You didn't even see it was so fast. Everybody went no.
I have a weighted
tries.
jacket I wear to contain myself when we're not on the air.
When do you wear it?
When I'm at home. See, the
As
stretch
he
from
should.
on the other.
As he
Maybe.
should.
The
Maybe I
wife
should buy
is
one.
like, where is this jacket?
Shush. Shush. The reboot of the hit show The X-Files came to a close last night right here on Fox. I guess that means I can finally watch it. But it turns out Minnesota has its own version of The X-Files.
Yeah, and now we're learning about one of those cases for the very first time.
The CIA just released.
Yeah, exactly. That little 1979 incident is what helped inspire the subplot of that second season of Fargo that just wrapped up.
That story?
On FX. Yeah, there was a little UFO, little hint and whatnot
Little
in there.
ode to the UFO.
Yeah, let's get to the, if you happen to see those flakeages around. A high today, though, around 30.